Hello, everybody. Tonight, our sit down with Seattle U head coach Chris Victor as we hit every topic under the sun, including the transfer portal, NIL, conference realignment, and of course,
it is a
Redhawk program on the rise. A little sneak peek right there before we even get into it. That plus all the latest and greatest from the world of college basketball. Let's get right to it. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train. Welcome to One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information. We are powered by the galaxy's, dare I say, the universe's greatest website, and that's drroto.com. I am your sometimes humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich. I happen to be the conductor of that aforementioned Green Screens Media train. Find me on X at Dr. William Cannon. If you follow me, I will hit that follow back button. That is a guarantee. But let's get right to two of the absolute best in the business to do it. My two broskies in basketball here, going three deep tonight, three wide. And we're starting with the man that we call El Capitan himself. He's the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. He does the ship, I do the train. Eric, we'll talk about what he does in a little bit. Follow Mike on X at MC Holland34, the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do?
What's up, man? Jealous you guys got to speak with Coach Victor today. I'm excited to get that spun up for you guys tonight here. But yeah, man, just been working on some roster breakdowns. Looking at the NBA, we have had some announcements of some guys coming back, so that's always nice. They have until May 29th to decide if they're going to stick around in the NBA draft. So we're going to get the clearer picture as we enter June as to what a lot of teams are going to look like next year. So that's pretty exciting in itself.
No doubt about it. Yeah, you missed out today, big dog. Me and Easy E over here, had to take care of business. And we did. Of course, Easy E is last in the intros, but he is first in your hearts. En sus corazones. The Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media. You can find that man in those Twitter streets at Fantasy Nav. He's Eric, the Blue, Mr. Eric Romoff. Eric, what's up?
Man, still riding the high from our chat with Coach Victor earlier today. The level of insight, the amount of preparedness, and the amount of detail that he puts into building this program shines through. It's a big part of the reason why they've been as successful as they have under his tenure. So excited to share that with the GSM universe out there. Excited to share all of our shows with our beloved breadheads. Get up in that live comment section. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know your thoughts on some Seattle hoops, on conference realignment, whatever it might be. Want to hear from you as we proceed through tonight's show.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you as the interview plays. Make sure you hop in the live chat, and we'll try to get to some of those comments afterwards. But make sure you hang around and enjoy our interview, our sit-down earlier today with Seattle U Redhawks head coach Chris Victor.
A distinct pleasure to introduce our special guest today, the head coach of the Seattle Redhawks, Chris Victor. Coach, welcome in.
Oh, thanks, guys. Really appreciate you having me on today. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Coach, thanks for taking the time. We're excited to talk Redhawk basketball with you today. 3 full seasons now at the helm for you as coach on campus there in Seattle with at least 20 wins every year, culminating in that CBI championship this March. Congratulations on that for sure, which also happened to be Seattle's first postseason tournament title in program history. So great stuff there. What have been some of the key factors to your program's success since taking over the reins full time?
Yeah, I think any successful program, you got to look at the players first. I mean, we've had some high level guys in this program the last 3 years. And we've also been able to keep some of those guys in the program for multiple years as well. So I think it starts with the players. We've had some special ones. You look at Cam Tyson, who just graduated. You're going down as one of the best players in Seattle U history, one of the best scorers in the country. We had Darion Trammell here, who for 2 years, that first year that we made the run, for 23 wins. He was our point guard. Many of them, many people know him from the San Diego State days that he finished this last year. But we've had some big time players, and we've had some great people in this program, and we've had special staff too. I mean, the coaches that we've had in this program have been great. And, one of them is now the head coach at University of Idaho, and Alex Pribble. He was here with us this first 2 years. So I think anytime, again, you look at a program that's had some success, it's the people that you got it in the right spot. So the players in the locker room, number one, and the coaches that we've had in this program as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a lot to be proud about with what you've helped establish with that program, and like you mentioned, your fingerprints have now kind of proliferated throughout the sport. So definitely exciting to see that come to pass. I want to circle back to to that CBI championship that Jay mentioned. You've got several players returning to your squad from that run, right? So kind of curious to get your opinion in college basketball's current landscape, like. How crucial is roster retention in your mind, and what are your expectations this offseason? Kind of beyond the returning players with some of the new faces that you've added to the squad.
Yeah, I think retention and some continuity in your roster is huge, especially at our level. At our level, if you can keep guys in the program for multiple years, I think you have an advantage down the line there, coming into a game a little older, a little more experienced, and guys that are very familiar with the program. And we've done that. Kobe Williamson will be coming back for his fifth year. Vasia Panza is coming back for his fourth. Victor Rajkovic's coming back for his fourth. So we have guys in this program that have been able to stay. Cam Tyson, that we mentioned, was here for 3 years. Paris Dawson's going on his third year next year. So, I expect big things from those guys. And a lot of them are going to be in their last year of eligibility. Some of them using their COVID year for, next year for the last one. And some of them just going to be seniors and graduating. And when you're a little older and the guys have been in the program, the expectations, you got to bump up a little bit. So all those guys that we mentioned, and then you have John Christofelis coming back for a second year. John, he went to Creighton, first year, played sparing minutes as a freshman. Sophomore year, broke his foot and didn't play, redshirted. So last year was really his first year of playing regular minutes in college basketball. And our first game of the season, he broke his hand. So, the first game back, he broke his hand. He missed those 5 weeks in November, when usually you're kind of ironing out some of the wrinkles in the game and getting used and acclimated to the program. So he was thrown right back in December. I think his first game was actually against UW at the arena downtown. So for him to have the first year that he had with all that in his past was special. So really excited to see what he can do this upcoming season as well. So, yeah, a lot of guys in the locker room coming back with experience. That won a lot of games. So it's a good place to start.
No doubt about it. Visiting with Seattle Redhawks head coach Chris Victor here on One and Done. About 2,000 entrants dove into the transfer portal this offseason, Coach, and your program did land a few players from that pool, including guard Malik Arrington, who basically never left the floor last season for Idaho State as their main ball handler. And then graduate transfer forward Matthew Alexander Moncrief, who brings that Power 5 experience, tournament experience to your program. What can we expect from those additions to your roster, and maybe anyone else that I missed?
Yeah, excited about those two for sure. I was laughing with Malik about the minutes he played. I think you look at those stats, it's pretty wild. And so you're not going to be playing that many minutes here, so get that expectation out of your head. And he's like, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, he's a local Seattle guy. He's from Auburn, so he's from close to this area. And we've known Malik since he was winning state championships in the state of Washington in high school, and went to Idaho State for 2 years. And he's just kind of an old school throwback, tough, physical, competitive PG. Great court vision, great defender. And we've had a lot of success here with transfer guards from all areas, from JUCO, from Division I, from Division II. Alex Schumacher was our point guard the last 2 years. So Division II transfer. We mentioned Darion Trammell, Terrell Brown. So I think Malik's going to step into that spot to be the next lead guard here that has a lot of success. And then, yeah, Moncrief, MA, just a next level athlete for us, and has played at the highest level of college basketball and has had a lot of success. And he's just looking, similar to what Cam Tyson was, similar to John Christofelis. They just didn't love their role at that level, and we're looking for more opportunity, kind of the mid-major spot. And we've had a lot of success with those guys too, that kind of want to come back to the mid-major level with a little bit of a larger role, still competing for championships still getting the exposure, but want a little more impact on the floor for their last year. So that's what we expect from both those guys, to come in right away and make a huge impact on our program, be on the floor a lot. And I'm excited to start coaching those guys this summer.
Yeah, a lot to be excited about with those two and with the roster at large, right? And I love that you're already having a laugh with Malik, and making sure that those expectations are clearly set up front. It's a big part of this process. And kind of looking back to your start here as the head coach for Seattle, you came in right as NIL was starting to pick up steam and kind of become a thing in the landscape of college basketball. Looking with, the programs you work with there at Seattle, the SOAR NIL program, the Redhawk Exchange, Red, White, and U, right? These are all collectives and programs that you've spoken very highly of that are, supporting the Redhawk athletes, right? So I wanted to know from you, like, what has this new era of NIL and the transfer portal been like for you during your tenure in Seattle? And what sort of challenges do you face as a coach when you're kind of navigating the waters of player mobility?
Yeah, it's a great question. And this has happened so fast, right? I mean, some of these changes have come rapidly and overnight and every day it's changing. I feel like I have to walk over to my compliance office every Monday morning and see what's different this week and make sure I'm not missing anything, but it's one of those deals now. We're in it, and like it or not, that's where we're at in college basketball. And we've had to adapt to it. And if we want to continue to be competitive and continue to win games and compete for championships, it's something that we got to get involved in quickly. And fortunately, we've had great support here that agree with that, and we're moving in that direction. One of the reasons we were able to be competitive in some of these transfers this offseason was because we had the NIL ability established and some that we could work with. So at first everything was new and people were kind of waiting to see what was going to happen. And if you waited too long, you fell behind, and now you're trying to catch back up. Some programs got ahead of it early and had a huge advantage there too. So we're just trying to stay competitive, and with the rule changes, and the transfer portal has been very good to us. Yes, we've lost a couple, but we've been able to retain a high percentage of our roster, and we've been able to add through the portal as well a lot of good players in this program. So it's where we are in college basketball, and I expect things to continue to change at this pace until we find some levity here and something that a formula that works. But we'll keep adapting. We'll keep trying to stay ahead of the game and stay competitive.
Really don't have much of a choice, right? You've got to adapt and figure it out, or you get left behind, like you were saying. And Seattle seemed to be well prepared for all of that, like you were saying, those collectives, those things in place for your athletes there at Seattle. So it feels like y'all are definitely out there in front of things. Catching up here with Seattle Redhawks head coach Chris Victor here on One and Done. Coach, we talked about the portal. We talked about NIL. We might as well jump in some conference realignment as well, especially with the news dropping this offseason that Seattle will join the WCC in 2025. Big news there. So what opportunities or challenges lie ahead of you, and what are your thoughts sort of on the state of conference realignment on the whole?
Yeah, this is a really big moment for our whole university. There's a rich history with Seattle U basketball going back to the 50s and 60s when Elgin Baylor was wearing number 22. You can see right behind me over my shoulder, other shoulder, I guess, that one. And they were playing for national championships and competing for Final Fours. And, we were in the WCC a while ago for, I think, 10 or 11 years. And then Seattle U dropped sports all the way down to the NAI. And we've only been Division I again for 14 or 15 years. And as soon as we went Division I again, one of the goals of the university from the president down was to get back to the WCC. So that was the news of us getting back in the WCC was great, not only for our program and for the athletic department, but the entire university was excited about that. And yeah, it brings a lot of challenges and it brings a lot of opportunity. It's a heck of a basketball conference, as everyone knows. And just being in the conference and the name alone carries a lot of weight. Carries a lot of weight on the recruiting trail, carries a lot of weight with our alumni and our donors. So with all the opportunity that we have, we got to now take advantage of it and level up a little bit. We've got one more year in the WAC, and then we'll be jumping into WCC, and we want to go in there and compete right away.
Yeah, definitely one of the most fun brands of basketball being played out there in the WAC and in the WCC. So excited to watch you guys make that jump in the coming years. If we're talking about kind of the macro level of conference realignment, wanted to go the other direction and really drill down into your specific coaching philosophies, right? Like the style of play that you trot out there is very defensively strong, right? It's been absolutely outstanding from a defensive standpoint during your tenure here at Seattle. So wanted to get from your perspective, like what do you believe are kind of the core components to really being consistently effective on the defensive side?
Yeah, I think basketball is a possession and percentage game, and you want to have more possessions than your opponent, and you want to be more efficient and higher percentage than your opponent. The bottom line, and defensively, we're trying to eliminate the most efficient baskets in basketball. So we're taking away the rim one. We want to take away the rim. We want to really limit 3-point opportunities, and we want to keep teams off the free throw line. And last season, really good job guarding the rim, and then we were one of the best teams in the country at guarding the 3-point line. Now we fouled way too much, and we gave up way too many free throws. So that's kind of the third piece we got to figure out next season. But really, that's the main goal. And how you do that, there's a lot of creativity involved in how you want to get to that point. But if you can guard the rim well, if you can guard the 3-point line well, and take teams off the free throw line and really force as many non-paint contested jump shots as possible, you're going to have success. Now, we do it a little more aggressive style in the half court. Our ball screen coverage is pretty aggressive, and we flip back and forth between ball screen coverages often. Our ball pressure is a little more aggressive. So that's what we tend to do in the half court. Now, we're not a pressing team. We're not a full court team, but we're a physical half court man-to-man team. And with what we talked about as our main goal, and then, to finish every possession, you got to rebound the ball as well. And defensive rebounding is always a big piece of being a solid defensive team.
No doubt about it. Defense never gets old, and I know coaches never get tired of talking about it either. So excellent stuff there. Last one before we get you out of here, Coach. You're obviously up in the visibility with joining the WCC. Like you said, everybody around the whole university is excited about that stuff. So you're going to have more eyes on your program and the university as a whole, but they might not be there just yet. So if there was something that maybe on a national level or on a larger level, what do people need to know about your program that they might not already know?
Yeah, great question. And I think this is going to be a big help for us getting WCC because as good as the WAC basketball conference is, I don't know if many people are aware of who's in it, how good of a conference it is, but everyone's really aware of the WCC. So what I would tell them about Seattle U, we've had three really good years. We've won 66 games in 3 years. Our net ranking has been improving every season with a finish in net ranking last year at 107. We've had one of the best scorers in the country on our team. We play a fun style and aggressive style of basketball, and we're doing it in one of the best cities and one of the best universities on the West Coast. So, our program's growing too. We've been Division I for 14, 15 years, and we want to keep building and keep growing. And I think the trajectory that we're on, if we can keep the momentum going and keep growing, this is a great moment in time for this university and this program to now jump into WCC with what we're doing, with the growth that we're having. And hopefully, Jay, when people see us and look back the last 3 years and be able to kind of see us more in the limelight of college basketball, we'll get more eyes on Seattle U basketball at the same time.
No doubt about it. 17 years in coaching, entering his fourth full season as head coach of the Seattle Redhawks. And let's not forget that NAIA title as a player. Got to throw it out there. Show Coach some love there. He is the head coach of the Seattle Redhawks, Coach Chris Victor. Coach, thank you so much for taking some time with us. Glad you were able to come up for a little bit of air and meet with us today. Hope you can get some time in for yourself here as the offseason goes forward. Good luck with everything. Maybe sneak in a nap or two, and hopefully we can catch back up with you down the road.
All right, Jay. Thanks. Eric, appreciate you guys having me on.
Good stuff there from Seattle U head coach Chris Victor. Absolutely loved that conversation. A real fun one. And we've had some fun interviews here on One and Done. If you haven't, go back after the show, obviously. Hang around with us now and chat, get in that live chat. But go back on the page and look at some of our coaches' interviews that we've done. But now let's talk about the one with Coach Victor, gentlemen. So, Mike, you had to sit this one out today, so I will give you first dibs on a little reaction after the interview. So give us your thoughts on that awesome conversation we had with Coach Victor.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. First thing that jumps out to me is the roster that he was talking about. The guys that he was mentioning, like that is, Cammy nails it on the head. Salute to that conversation. I mean, look, here's the thing, right? A lot of the teams in the WAC are kind of going to be forgotten because we just had this conversation the other day about Grand Canyon versus like a McNeese State, right? As far as, mid-majors. So, everybody's going to talk about Grand Canyon in this WAC, but I mean, for me, I get it. They're losing Cam Tyson. That hurts, but I love Kobe Williamson's game. John Christophilus is just scratching the surface, like Coach mentioned. Dawson, Ponza, they're all experienced. You're getting Malik Arrington, who, if he's able to bottle up some of that magic from last year and bring that over to Seattle, then I think he's going to be an awesome fit. And obviously, getting a Power 5 transfer like Matthew Alexander Moncrief is going to be going to be nice for them to kind of move forward with that. So, yeah, I think the thing that really stuck out to me is the roster and the fact that, man, it seems like his goals are just absolutely, he's got his goals laid out and they're aligned, and he's just ready to get this thing moving forward and to get some attention on this program that's won a lot of games over the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's if you would guess, or tell me as many teams as you can that have won 60 games total combined over the last 3 years. Is Seattle U or the Redhawks going to come up on your mind, number one? Probably not, and they've done a good job. They deserve that attention. Eric, what was it like for you in that conversation? I know there were some cool moments there, some parts of the conversation where I can see Coach thinking yeah, man, this is who we are. This is what we're about, and he felt really strong. Strong about his program. What were some of your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, he felt really strong for good reason, right? You articulated it perfectly. There aren't a whole lot of programs out there that can point back over the last 3 seasons and look at 60 wins on that side of the column. And for me, the thing that really jumps out, right? Mike is making a fantastic kind of surface level point about the roster that he has, but you look back over the history of what Seattle U has been, right? He mentioned Elgin Baylor, he mentioned Trammell from a few seasons ago. There have been some absolute players that have gone through this program, and specifically what stood out, kind of zooming out a little bit. I mean, he really underscored kind of the formula for success, outside of the high major ranks. He's got a bunch of guys on this roster now and over the course of his tenure that absolutely have that dog in them, right? They were not happy with their role. They wanted to step into something where they could, really showcase what they can do. And he's creating that platform for them and finding the best ways to utilize them, right? So not surprising at all based on his on-court success that, he is very intentional and thoughtful about how this all comes together. And he's got these guys bought in, right? They know they have an opportunity to really showcase what they can do with Seattle and make the most of their college and in some cases eventual professional careers, right? So it's really fascinating to hear all the thought that goes into it and how the magic is made.
Yeah, I also thought the comment that he made about basketball being a game of possessions and percentages, I thought that was it's outstanding, right? Because we talk about it all the time, possessions, what do you do with them? So, to hear that type of philosophy, that's music to the old ears here.
Oh, yeah. Sweet tunes there from Coach. It was an awesome conversation. Thank you again to Coach Victor and Seattle U for making sure that happened today. And thank you for hanging out with us. If you're brand new, welcome. Bienvenidos a todos. We appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Hop in that live chat. Just say hey. Drop an emoji. Fire emojis. We're big fans of the
Coach
fire
Victor
emojis.
some love in that live chat. My guy was out there
exactly.
putting on a master class.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Show Coach Victor some love. Show Seattle U some love. Maybe if you're not watching live, if you're catching this later on, Red Hawk Nation, hop in that comment section and let us know that you are hanging out with us. And if you like what you hear, hit those buttons, especially the subscribe one, and tell the hoop heads in your life about One and Done, and of course, Green Screens Media. Great stuff there. Thanks again to Coach Victor in Seattle U. We got a few other stories here that we can hit on tonight before we get out of here. How about starting with David Patrick stepping down as Sacramento State head coach. Coach Patrick is heading to join LSU staff as an assistant coach under Matt McMahon. So he was 24-42 in his 2-year stint at Sacramento State. Eric, what's up with the move?
Yeah, so Patrick's coming over here and is very much so, following kind of a homecoming story, right? Like, he's a guy who played at Louisiana Lafayette. He was an assistant for this very LSU program about 10 years ago, right? His wife lives in the area, so the opportunity is here for him to hit the reset button, and he gets to do it in a pretty familiar gym, right? One that he's got a lot of experience with. So the homecoming story is nice. Anytime you see someone taking an assistant role in a major program, like clearly they're playing 4D chess, they're kind of seeing the whole board. So will be a fun one to watch roll out with regard to Coach Patrick.
Yeah, and then they announced, Sacramento State did, that they have an interim head coach, which seems like, this has kind of been in the works for a little bit. So Michael Zeppel, he is going to take over for the 24-25 season. He was an assistant under Patrick, now getting a chance to lead a D1 program. So it's going to be interesting to see roster-wise what's going to happen. They look to have a full roster from what we can tell here, but obviously that could change in a hurry. I think obviously with Zeppel here being an assistant, there's clearly a better chance for roster retention. Typically when you're going out and looking for a coach, a bunch of your players dive into the transfer portal. So I don't think we'll see as much of that here. But every time there is a head coaching change, players will have up to 30 days to determine whether or not they want to stay or go. So, yeah, looking forward to it, man. A lot of West Coast hoops we're talking tonight.
Yeah, that graphic was worth the wait there, wasn't it? Look at that stuff. Good stuff there. Good luck to Coach Patrick heading to LSU's staff. Got some Big 12 talk here. TCU adds former Old Dominion guard Vaishon Alette, number 202 on the big board by Mike and, of course, our guy at the Real Napier, Nape C. Hustle, somewhere looking at a furniture catalog, yearning for the days of old. Mike and Nape did a bunch of work on that top 500, actually, transfer portal entrance. So get to drroto.com and check that out. Alette was number 202 in 19 games last year for Old Dominion, 17.4 points, 5.5 boards, and almost 2 swipes per game while shooting 35% from 3, right at the Heinrich line that I prefer. Eric Alette, he was dismissed from the team mid-season. That's why it was 19 games and not 32 or 33. So your initial thoughts on Alette's game, and I guess you gotta address the off-the-court stuff as well.
Yeah, in so much as like it limited his playing time last season, right? The fairly limited reporting that we have out there is that he was dismissed due to conduct unbecoming of a monarch. I'm not sure if that is a monarch of the monarchy. I'm not sure if that is a monarch butterfly. We don't really have concrete details as to what happened with regard to Alette here, but in his limited playing time, he was able to just completely stuff the stat sheet, right? Like you rattled through those statistics, and they were super impressive. For whatever reason, him and interim coach Donahue just didn't see eye to eye. So now we're talking about one of the most impressive freshmen in the country last year heading over to TCU, who just completely loves their guards, right? Like they have a type. If he can keep his head on straight, not rub anybody the wrong way, not bristle the feathers of Coach Jamie Dixon, who's calling in the graphic there. This is a guy that can really maximize this opportunity, and is a pretty strong ad for this Horned Frog program.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
no
would
doubt
say
about
it's
it. Mike,
pretty
what are your
strong.
thoughts
Yeah.
on the lit? Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, man. I see, Cam jumping in here, with some stat worthy, some advanced analytics here. But I mean, look, as far as the player, like the dude can flat out score from all three levels. But this TCU team, there's a lot of cooks in the old kitchen here. Frankie Collins coming over, Noah Reynolds coming over, Trezarian White. I mean, for this thing to work, I talked about it on a previous show. I think Collins going to need to fall back to more of that facilitative role that he was at Arizona State a couple of years ago. Him, Reynolds, Alette, they really need the ball in their hands to be able to do some damage. Trezarian White's a guy that can be a spot-up shooter, but I don't think you really just want him to be a spot-up shooter. He's so versatile, so many different ways he can score. I don't think you really want to handcuff him. I feel like he needs to be the one that can play the most free. So it's gonna be interesting. We'll see how it works in the half court sets, but obviously an excellent set of guards heading to TCU next year.
No doubt about it. Like you said, Eric, TCU has a type, and if Alette can stay on the floor, he fits the bill for show. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons if you're hanging out with us. Thank you. We appreciate the Green Screens Media universe doing their parts. So make sure you hop in there. Cam, of course, Cam, long time. We determined that it was either C Thuggin or CT Huggin, depending on the day. So that's our guy Cam,
It's
though.
both.
Yeah, it's probably both. And then, Peanut Butter Posse, I don't know, man. Like, you're off the rails tonight, but that's all right. We love you. We love Big Blue Nation. Not a lot going on for Kentucky just today to talk about, but we appreciate you hanging out with us anyway. Peanut Butter Posse for sure. One more story here in the world of old college hoops before we get out of here. Max Shulga sending that text, JK, LOL, not coming to Villanova. He's actually heading back to VCU. Look at that graphic. It's like, oh, here I go. I'm going this one. I'm going across VCU. Oh, and then I'm Villanova. Oh, sure. Right, keep going. It's VCU again. He was number 129 on the big board over at drroto.com. 37 games last season, 14 points, 5.5 boards, 3.5 dimes, and 41% from beyond the arc. Eric, Villanova not exactly having the offseason that they presumably need on paper to bounce back, at least in my sometimes humble opinion. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this one doesn't feel great for the Villanova faithful, right? They thought that they were getting, one of the most efficient players in the country in Max Shulga. You mentioned him shooting 41% from range, and now they've got a big gap in their roster, in their plan, potentially in their scheme and their approach. So, this roster is currently constructed like it's kind of hard to put together a defendable case where they've got the upside to be competitive, right? Like I like Jameer Brickus coming in from LaSalle, right? But he's also a smaller guard, Tyler Perkins from Penn, he's got more upside, but he's probably going to be a bit of a slower burn, right? Probably going to take a little bit longer for that to develop and to realize. So, like you look at this Villanova team in a very competitive Big East, like, they're looking at guys that, are a bit more developmental. They've got 3 freshmen coming in who typically take a little bit longer to get their sea legs at the college ranks. Like, I mean, the way that they're going to pull this off is kind of an open question. I only see 8 guys on their roster. So, yeah, I mean, we're sitting here about to turn the page into June, and Coach Neptune has got some serious work to do to round out the rest of the squad.
Yeah, he's definitely got some work to do. But, man, how about this for VCU, man? Like, they played in the A-10 conference title game last year, and now they're getting a bunch of their key players returning. And then you get this news. So you have Zeb Jackson, Joe Bamacil, now obviously Shulga back. Man, awesome commitment with Jack Clark coming over. So this is a team that has a lot of talent. I expect them to be up there with St. Louis, St. Joe's, Loyola in the A-10. I'm liking what they're putting down, especially after the way they finished the year last year for sure. So yeah, some quick headlines for you guys, but very impressed with Coach Victor and what he's doing out there on the West Coast. appreciate his time tonight. And yeah, man, we'll keep this train rolling for sure.
No doubt about it. Cam was asking in the live chat if Coach Neptune's seat is getting a little bit warm.
A little bit.
I would say it's like right there where it's not too like uncomfortable to sit on, but it's like getting kind of warm and you're starting to like squirm a little bit like this. Like he's kind of it's warm. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's warm, that's for sure. I mean, we still got to play the games though. So like, just because you don't, technically win the transfer portal doesn't mean that you can't have a great season. Like we've seen that a lot of time. How many times do we have teams that were like, I didn't even think they were going to be this good, and then they're pretty good. So maybe they'll have taken a different route. But yeah, they're in on Poplar. They're in on a few other guys. They need to start obviously getting this roster rounded out if they want to be competitive in the Big East, like Eric said.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is just like the burden of following a legend like Jay Wright. Like everyone expects that you are immediately going to live up to that standard, and that is a very high standard. So, I mean, it kind of feels like his seat was a little warm almost from the get-go, right? He really had to pass a high bar, and a flub like this, it's easy for a fan base to get a little bit unsettled, but the point that you brought up, Mike, that I think is really key here is, a lot of these teams play very differently on the court than they look on paper, right? None of this is etched into stone yet. There's still a number of ways that he can put together a solid roster and get the most out of them. So not the best news for the Villanova faithful as we sit here at the end of May, but certainly not all is lost either.
No, not at all. Not at all. You got to play the games, of course. Play those games. Looking forward to watching the Redhawks a little bit more this season. And then that jump to the WCC is going to be a big-time test for them. But we appreciate Coach Victor, of course, the Seattle U Redhawks head coach, for joining us today. We appreciate you for hanging out with us in the live chat. Cam and Peanut Butter Posse, our guys, of course. Make sure if you're watching later on after this show post, hop in that comment section. Let us know what you think. Show Coach Victor and the Redhawks some love. Show your broskies in basketball right here on screen some love as well. Follow us all on Twitter. I am the conductor of the Green Screens Media Train. I'm at Dr. William Cannon on Twitter. That guy over, let's go this way. That's Eric the Blue, the Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media, at Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets. El Capitan, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship, Mike Holland, at MC Holland 34. Don't forget our guy at The Real Napier, of course. And make sure you hit us on Twitter at One and Done CBB. Around 1,100 followers on that account. We appreciate every single one of them. We appreciate all of you that helped us we're almost to 1,100 subscribers on YouTube. Can you help us get there? Can you help us get there? We're on like this. Shh. It's like Seattle U's program. It's like shh. Just like that. Taking off.
Best.
Right there. Good stuff, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you. Make sure you take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Most importantly, tell somebody you love them. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. Let's get this bread, baby.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.